What's up guys, Martin here, bringing you a brand new video. In today's video, as you can see, we are back, league racing on F1 2021. Well, I feel really old saying that, not gonna lie. But yeah, hopefully you guys are well. It's been a while, I know. If you didn't know, I've been currently on a break from competitive F1 league racing. Previously we had F1 2020, and I made this clear, I really struggled with that game. I just didn't really like the handling model, and during this period I was going through a really tough time personally, so that resulted in poor results and lack of motivation. So I decided to take a step back for a few months, just regain and go again for the new game. So what you're going to be seeing here is a social race. It's not an actual official league race. It's basically a pre-season test, shall we say, for the WOR Championship, which I'll be competing on the Xbox One platform. As you can see from the calendar, it is going to be kicking off in August at this very circuit, the Bahrain Grand Prix. So this should be quite useful going into the first race, with 3 new tracks coming towards the end of the season. Hopefully they'll get added to the game as soon as possible. You can watch these races live on the WOR YouTube channel. Shout out to George Morgan, who coordinates all of that. Fantastic commentator, puts on a really good show, and you can tune into those races on Mondays at 8 PM, so check out that YouTube channel there. So this race is not the official grid, it's a combination of multiple drivers throughout the WR community, throughout the leagues. But we've got some really tough drivers that should give us a good indication of our pace. Guys like Viper, guy finished top 3 in the championship, and Ronhard, the reigning TSRL champion. It's a good test for us. So yeah, heading to Bahrain. It's a very tough circuit, very technical, 3 DRS zones. It does provide very good racing on the game and in real life. So a great sort of challenge for us as we start our league racing journey, shall we say, on this game. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this video, and let's get stuck into this straight away. And yeah, let's do this. Here we are then in qualifying. And as you can see, as always in Bahrain, no nasty surprises. It is dry conditions in qualifying and the race. Important to know, for this particular race, the organisers decided to use default setups because obviously the game came out on Friday. Deluxe edition came out on Tuesday, which I bought because I'm very sweaty. I want to get that early advantage going into the competitive season. Hand them £70, and well, the game it's not great online, a lot of bugs, but yeah, preset setups, a lot of understeer. Understeer seems to be a theme of this handling model. The front end just washes away all the time, curbs spit you out if you touch the wrong ones, so it is really a learning experience as we go into middle sector. No one saw that. No one saw that, okay, let's just agree on that. So yeah, just a little bit rusty, just getting warmed up. Yeah, not a good start. First qualifying lap, flying into a barrier, not giving much confidence. But we dust ourselves down, go out again. We've got 2 sets of tyres. With the preset setups, as you can see, the fuel load, we've been forced to carry 3.5 laps of fuel, so we can do 2 runs on these tyres. But ideally you want to get that run in on the initial lap, because Bahrain, very punishing on tyres. It is a soft, hard strategy. You want to keep the soft tyres as fresh as possible into the first set now, threading it through the curbs. Like I say, you don't really want to touch them curbs because it can spit you out. Grabbing first gear for that extra rotation. Like I said, these default setups are very understeery. You can use the brake balance and the differential to counter that, to gain that front end as we blast down the back straight, using a little bit of a slipstream there to gain those valuable milliseconds. As you can see, move the brake bias a little bit rearward just to get the rear end, stepping out to get the rotation that we need. Obviously in these high-speed, sharp corners where the braking zones aren't that long, you can, use the rearward balance to get the car rotated. But obviously in these heavy braking zones, you want to move it forward to keep the rear in check. You can use the differential as well. Lowering the on-throttle differential does help the rotation, but it can hamper your traction. I ran 80 throughout the lap because I didn't really do much practice, and it felt reasonably good. And we are the first man in the 124s, and I was reasonably happy with that. PB is a 0.6, so yeah, early signs that we're looking pretty competitive on this game. On board now with the danger man of this race, Viper, the man who finished top 3 in the championship last season. So like I said, this is a really good reference for me. You know, we've got some top drivers in this league, well, in this race. We've got Ronha as well, yet to show his hand, down in 5th place. Viper on a controller as well. I'm using the wheel, so it'll be a really interesting comparison to see what the two devices are like. Viper, fast man in the first sector. He's a 10th down in the middle sector, but here he is going down the final corner. DRS wide open, and he pips us by a few hundredths of a second, a 24.9 of Jonas up in P3 with Ronha, like I said, yet to show his hand on a 25.3. Here we are then, firing up the engine as we're 22 seconds to go in this qualifying session. When you got one more set of tyres, I decided to go late as possible because track evolution on this game is very, very powerful. As the rubber gets laid down, there's more grip at your disposal, and I took the risk of just going out and just getting that lap in, and hopefully don't make any mistakes. Let's come to the first corner now, using that first gear to get some rotation. A little bit too eager on the throttle there, and that's going to cost us all the way down this back straight, building up to 195 miles an hour, breaking the straight line after 100 metre board, using the curb on the left hand side there to open the trajectory of the corner to carry greater minimum apex speed. And the first sector's 0.4, so it's not particularly great, not troubling the apex to the right, which compromised the run through the left, running wide into the curb there, nailing that apex there, but again not getting the power down as I would like to. Hence this very tricky downhill left-hander, which is very, very tricky with the ABS turned off. But we get a fantastic drive and exit there. Missed an opportunity there to get the slipstream on the, I'm not sure what car that was. So plenty of work to do if we want to get pole position here, but I know in this middle and last sector we can improve as Ronha puts his car in between myself and Viper. Viper has retired, so there's still an opportunity to get pole position. Fastest man of anyone in that middle sector, getting a good exit, one corner to go. We only need half a tenth to get pole position here. As we come to the last corner now, heavy braking, down into 4th gear, 3rd, and we've run a little bit wide on the curb, and it's been invalidated. I don't believe it. We've chalked it as we throw our wheel in frustration. That cost us the front row, but nevertheless, it is another 24.9, and we are going to qualify in P3. And I was still reasonably satisfied with that. Viper and Ronha, top drivers on Xbox. We've come back, and we're only within a couple of milliseconds from the pole position. And yeah, should be a very interesting race. Let's see what we can do.
Keep an eye on the lights. The start sequence will begin as soon as the grid is formed. Be ready with the clutch.
See, we are then P3, second row of the grid as the lights are about to go up now. As our first competitive race on F1 2021 begins now. It's lights out, and away we go. A good initial launch, but a bit of wheel spin as Ronha gets a wheel spin as well. Viper takes off like a scalded cat into turn 1 now, trying to go around the outside of Ronha, trying to use the lateral grip, but no, we understeer wide in the wake of the McLaren. Heavy fuel load makes the car a little bit too lazy through there, and we just consolidate P3 as we try to fend off the two prancing horses of Jonas and WOR Nico. So yeah, 29 laps of fuel, cold tyres with a default setup. It's not pretty, it's not ideal in the slightest, as Ronha gets the front end all messed up through that chicane. And yeah, this is just a case of adapting to the fuel load as quickly as possible, and critically getting the DRS of Viper and Ronha into this downhill left-hander, being very progressive and very cautious on the brakes with ABS off, using the overtake to get the good drive out the corner. And yeah, at the moment, feeling pretty good, using the brake bands, plate rearward to get that front end in the apex. Ronha running wide again, so these default setups are pretty bad with understeer. Ronha struggling to carry full throttle through there, but right now we're looking pretty good. Got a decent gap to Jonas, and we've got target lock on these two, as we're hoping to get a DRS on lap 3. See, we are on lap 3. It's at the fastest middle sector of anyone so far, and we're well within DRS of Ronha, who's got an 8/10 gap to Viper. Jonas behind, already picking up a 3-second time penalty. So that's a confidence boost for us if we want any chance of getting a podium finish. But right now I'm feeling pretty good. I feel I've got good speed. There's a good gap between Ronha and Viper. He's not going to benefit from the slipstream, and we're going to pounce on the Dutchman down the main straight. And we take second place here in the Bahrain Grand Prix. Got to get it all slowed down to turn 1, don't want to overshoot, carrying immense speed through there. And like I said, these cars are absolutely rapid in the straight line. But Viper leading the charge with 50% ERS. He's carrying quite a lot of fuel as well, which I noticed, 1.7 laps of fuel. The fuel load is very easy to manage on this game now, because obviously we're in standard fuel mix. So I'm just carrying, you know, half a lap of fuel just to, you know, not have any dramatics or any concerns at the end of the race. Viper.
Christ, the understeer on this setup is just ridiculous.
Viper complaining with understeer. Like I mentioned, these default setups are a nightmare. And remember, Viper is on a controller. And like I said, this is a great sort of, you know, test to see, compare the two devices. And Viper is an incredible pad user, but he is really struggling with these default setups with the front end. And right now, we are looking very, very good for the win here. Myself, Ronha and Viper have already broken a 2-second gap to 4th, as Jonas, I think, spun, unfortunately. And right now, here we are on lap 5, from 3rd on the grid, we've taken Ronha. And here we are, taking the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix on our return to league racing, although this is just a social race. That is a massive confidence boost. But we've got to watch out for Viper though. You know, he's struggling with a bit of understeer, but he's got some serious pace. And we've got some serious oversteers, we lose traction. And that is candy from a baby from the McLaren driver. Very short-lived period in P1. I enjoyed 10 seconds of that. But yeah, just shows you, you know, early days in this game cycle, you know, really trying to get on top of this handling model, getting some confidence. And we've just got to learn from our mistakes, regain. And as you can see, the DRS is pretty powerful on this game. It's definitely been buffed. And the ERS seems to be easily manageable on this game, so it should provide better racing, but yeah, it's not my cup of tea because it does feel quite artificial because it's just so dominant in terms of these wheel-to-wheel battles. But yeah, Viper now on lap 8, goes up the inside here. Didn't really fight too much. I don't really care because I'm in P2, so he's not getting away. You can see a tyre indication.
The rear just not like
he's still not happy with the balance of his car, and you can see why. You know, his tyre wear is still very high. He's got the tyre indicator giving him a warning, but my tyres felt very, very good. And I was convinced he was pitting this lap, so I could bolt and go for an overcut. But he carried on for another lap, and Ronha pits, and that is not good. I was hoping he would pit that lap with Ronha, and I could push and get fresher tyres. But a safety car has just decided to pipe up and get deployed. I believe it was an incident in the first sector, and that is good news for myself and Viper, so we should be able to counter Ronha's undercut and regain track position. And that is bad news for the guys who are on the hard tyres, going for the alternate strategy, as we enter the pits now. And this is actually quite funny, so watch this.
Right, there we go.
Go, exit now. We're racing on the exit. Exit now.
I've been held. There's no way. There's I've been held by an AI car.
Oh, he's not a happy bunny, is he, Viper? I don't blame him. There was an AI car in the pits, a lap down, and basically got held up by it, which is extremely lucky for me. And it's very unfortunate for him, especially when he's a ghost car. It's like, why would he get held? Why would you need to wait for a ghost car? And the McLaren mechanics being far too cautious, and that has allowed us to get into provisional first place here with FRA Lurch 06 taking the initial lead, but still yet to make a pit stop. And this AI car is going to cause problems for me now, because the AI car is not getting close enough to the Alfa Romeo. And the Alfa Romeo is gone, but I'm not getting the slipstream from the Red Bull. The Red Bull pulls off to the side. And now I'm in trouble here, because the Viper's now got an insane tow. Very hesitant on defensive works for me. And that allows Viper to slip his nose down the inside, going wheel to turn 1. Really don't want to cause any collisions here. Cold tyres, really cautious on the throttle side by side. He's on the curb. And look at Ronha. It's 3 wide down the back straight, heading into turn 4. And I'm not yielding. I'm going to steam it round the outside, but Viper gets his car hooked up to the apex. And he steams through to provisional first place. Ferrari makes contact with Ronha and is down a few places. So, not a disaster. It's status quo, and ideally this is probably fair for Viper because he got shafted in the pits. But this is an important moment of the race now, because we've got to dispose of this Alfa Romeo. He's yet to make a pit stop. Viper sends one down the inside, just makes it stick. And I've got to get past him as soon as possible. We're going into this critical middle sector, which is very difficult to follow. But here we are, punching the overtake down the next straight, and Lurch there, very respectfully, just doesn't, you know, why would he need to battle? You know, he's on an alternate strategy, and so that's good, respectable driving for him. And now I've got target lock on the McLaren. Gotta get that DRS, and I suspect Ronha, the lead FRA driver, Should get some red carpet treatment from Lurch, and he should be hot on our heels as Viper weaves from left to right there to avoid the slipstream. Here we are on lap 14. And we have got the DRS on Viper, and again he's missing the apex, struggling with understeer on that controller. He's doing a phenomenal job, but we are really in the groove here, and I was feeling really confident. And again, down into this downhill left-hand, and again he runs wide. We're in prime position here to take the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix, but unfortunately, right about now, I lost all force feedback in my wheel. This is a current problem with this game. There are many problems with this game. It's not finished, but they released it because Silverstone's out and they need to bring it out early to make the most of advertising. Basically, my wheel just randomly loses force feedback. As we lose the rear, we reset the wheel in the worst possible zone, in the traction zone. Ronhar's weaving from left to right thinking, what are you doing? You've just lost DRS and Viper, there's nothing I can do, I need to reset my wheel. And right now I'm thinking, right, Ronhar, just go. Get that DRS on Viper, we need to regain and refocus and get back in the rhythm. We were looking so good, but just things like that just really disrupt your rhythm. And it's really frustrating. Like, I was in prime position there, and the game just decides, no, you're going to lose all force feedback, and then you have to turn off your wheel. It's just frustrating times. We are waiting for several patches to hopefully fix that. It was fixed for the beta, but not for the full game, which is annoying. Here we are on lap 17, and not gonna lie, at this stage of the race, I was a bit rattled, I was a bit frustrated, I was making a lot of mistakes. Again, just a pathetic lock-up there, understeering wide. And myself and Ronhar were a bit ragged here. Viper is pulling away at the front, but crucially on lap 18, as you can see, he's struggling for consistency issues as well. So early stages of the game cycle, we're still, I think we're quick, but we're just, you know, the aim is to try and keep as consistent as possible and adapt to this understeer with these default setups. And again he's struggling, he's throwing away his advantage here on lap 18.
Getting there, and then this lap was just dropped. Just feels so different every fucking lap, man. Come on, the curbs are so shit. They ride those exit curbs in real life to get a better exit. I ride them there and it just tries to suck you out off the track.
So yeah, you can hear the frustration in Viper's voice, and I was the same as well, struggling with the understeer. Ideally we'd prefer to have our own setups, but it's only fair, as some guys, obviously, you know, it allows a equal playing field, but it's frustrating to drive, as the gap has come down to 1.5 seconds, as we've got a virtual safety car on track. And I believe, as Jeff has told me here, there's debris on the track at an instant in turn 1, I think. Oh no, sorry, sector 2. So this is a, well, crucial moment in the race, because our tyre temperatures are going to plummet, especially these hard compound tyres. And the virtual safety car's actually ended very abruptly. And Viper's been caught off guard here. And this right now is a critical moment in the race. The major beneficiary here was Ronhar. He's got the gap over a second on us, so we've got to get the hammer down. And Viper's really struggling with understeer. Yeah, okay, I've got no tyre temps. Struggling with tyre temps. And this is a critical moment in the race. You can see using overtake, I've got to get the DRS on Ronhar. Now I know he's been pushing extremely hard. As you can see, the gap is around 1.1 seconds. So I know Ronhar is going to be bolting, using all of his battery to get that DRS on Viper. As he's looking pretty vulnerable here on this restart on the controller. You can see the understeer. It is ridiculous on the controller. And he's... oh my goodness me.
Fucking steam!
Oh, he's really struggling. But as the laps continue to tick on by, he should get those tyres back in the operating window. But myself and Ronhard just getting it up much quicker as we set the fastest lap of the race at 1:28.5. You can see we're well within the DRS zone. We've got to watch out for Raceway as well. He's on the medium compound tyres. He pitted under the safety car for those tyres, but they should go off towards the end of the race. And that advantage so swing in our favour as Ronhar, the Haas, goes up the inside of Viper. But Viper should get a good exit coming off this corner. Parks his car beautifully, getting a DRS now in the slipstream of the Haas. Ronhar covers the middle ground, but it opens the door for Viper to go steaming up the inside. That is easy peasy for him. Can Ronhar get a switchback going side by side through his middle sector? You don't want to go side by side through this chicane. Ronhar, intelligent, slots in behind, showing his class. A TSRL reigning champion, hot on the heels of the man who finished third place in this championship last season. As we come down this main straight, and you can see here I'm using my overtake. I this is a problem for me. I want to be second place in this train. There's nothing I can really do, because Ronhar's got the DRS on Viper, so I'm putting as much pressure on Ronhar to have a go at Viper. Maybe I can take advantage of them as the squabble. Ronhar goes up the inside, the side-by-side going up turns 2 and 3. He runs wide on the curve, that's going to compromise his drive. Who's got the DRS? It is Ronhar. Ronhar takes the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix as Viper slots in behind. And again, this is not ideal. I need him to go side-by-side. I need to, you know, come through like a ninja and get into second place. That is the key position to be in if I want to win this race as the laps tick on by. It is lap 25 out of 29 of the Bahrain Grand Prix. The Dutchman leads the way. His DRS gets enabled now. The laps are ticking on by. I need to make a move, using the overtake to put pressure on Viper to make a move on the Haas, and yes he is, going down the inside into turn 1. Can he get it stick? Looks like he's getting a lot more confidence now as the tyres get back into the operating window, and it is not over yet. Coming up towards turn 3 and 4, DRS wide open. Ronhar aggressively covers the inside line, and I'm just watching and seeing if I can slot in through the gaps, trying to capitalise on this as Viper goes all the way around the outside in turn 4 into the high speed right left chicane. He goes all the way around the outside. That is a phenomenal pass, very brave on the controller. Ronhar, not amused, goes round the outside. He's going to get a first wheel curb. Can we capitalise on this? Oh no!
Oh, he's dropped it. Dubbed.
Oh dear. Drama on the return to league racing here in the social race as I make contact with the TSRL reigning champion. Yeah, that was my fault. My gut reaction was that was my fault. He obviously got forced onto the curb. That compromised his drive. I was trying to get a good exit, and just the merest of touches on his rear end spun him round. It was very unusual, because normally if you make contact with a car front to rear, normally the guy behind spins around. But on this game, as you saw there, he just spun around. He had absolutely no chance. So I was feeling a little bit guilty at this point, but right now you just got to blank it out as much as you can and just focus on the task in hand and just worry about the drama later on. Focus on, you know, the apologies after the race. So right now we've got a task in our hands here. We've got a really good chance here to claim a victory here on F1 2021. Target lock on Viper, but he is driving at a phenomenal race on the controller, really getting up to grips now after a difficult safety car restart. Got one corner to go now as we start the final lap here. Can we mount any assault down this main straight? DRS wide open now. We've got 30% battery. Can we make any solve? It's going to have to be one spectacular dive bomb to make any move on Viper. Down the inside, nah, he's just way too far back. That will be a plane crash if I try going for the move there as we lose the rear on traction in the dirty air, and that is the inexperience right there. Still getting to grips to the game and a little shake of the wheel in frustration, and it looks like Viper in the McLaren, the man who was on pole position, is going to take the victory here. There's still a lot of positives to take from this race. Very frustrating with the wheel disconnecting, losing force feedback, but coming out the last corner now, Viper's going to take the win, and we're going to be good sportsmen. Obviously that incident of Ronhar, that was completely my fault, and we're going to show, you know, good sportsmanship, pull over and give him the podium, and that is us in P4 for the first race on F1 2021. So yeah, it has potential, this game. Great racing, by the way, with Viper and Ronhar. GG's to them. But as you can see, 10 finishes. Guys were struggling with, you know, issues, disconnections, you know, losing force feedback like I did. So the game, multiplayer wise, still has a lot of issues, but as you saw there, it has potential. We just gotta hope for some more patches, but GG's to Viper.
The driver of the day, Alex Dagu. Let's go. My hero, Alex Dagu.
So it is Viper takes the victory by 1.9 seconds ahead of WOR Raceway, making an extra pit stop under the safety car for medium compound tyres. Took them a long way and managed to get a podium finish. Ronhar in third, myself in fourth. Little bit gutting at the end there, kind of ruined that battle, but still GG's to him with Chile up there in P5. He'll be quite satisfied with that. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that first teaser, shall we say, of League Racing, a social race. Has potential, like I said, but yeah, still waiting on a lot of patches to fix the bugs, and obviously the handling model, that could shake things up. But I'm feeling really good going into the season, and hopefully, as you can see, in August, it's where it really kicks off. hopefully we can find maybe the championship. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, stick around as we've got more league racing content coming up, and yeah, I'll see you for the next one. Cheers.